we're doing something a tiny bit different. Because, you know, I was gonna play Baldur's Gate today. But then after the end of last stream where I just sat and hyper-fixated for like 10 minutes on Power Rangers, I was like, you know what? I want to keep doing this. What if I did a whole stream where I just hyper-fixate on something for like 2 hours? Have you ever wanted to watch Attack on Titan, but it's got robots and no Nazi propaganda and is made for 8-year-olds? Because if you do, oh boy, do I have the show for you. Presenting Power Rangers RPM, which is the best season of Power Rangers ever produced that I have seen. I have heard rumors that In Space is better. I don't believe them. So to start off, we need some background. So Power Rangers as a whole is a franchise that actually jumps from producer to producer. It was originally produced by Saban Entertainment all the way up to 2002, who put it on Fox Kids, but then in 2002, Disney got it in a buyout of Fox Kids, and they had it up till 2009. Fun fact I actually discovered about Power Rangers while I was doing research for this: Power Rangers is a show that somehow keeps surviving when it really shouldn't. Like, RPM as a season, as I'm going to get into, was like, this is the last season of Power Rangers. Like, Disney was like, this is gonna be the last one. And then it got bought for like, I don't even remember, like $1 million? I don't know how much this franchise got bought for. And then Nickelodeon was putting it on. And then they were like, okay, this one season is gonna be the last season of Power Rangers we do. And then Hasbro got it. And this year, we're like, okay, the 2023 season of Power Rangers is gonna be the last one. So God only knows if it actually will be the last season of Power Rangers, because this show apparently keeps on trucking even when everything even when everything tries to kill it. Here's the unfortunate thing. Disney hates fun if fun also means low ratings. So Jungle Fury in 2008 got really low ratings, and Disney wanted to drop the whole thing because it had low ratings, but they couldn't because they were contractually obligated to do one more season. Disney was like, can we get out of this? And Bandai was like, no, you have to do one more season. And Disney was like, fuck, okay, where are the showrunners? Are the showrunners in the building? And they walked up to the showrunners, dumped Power Rangers in front of them, and said, you can do whatever we want. You can do whatever you want. We don't give a shit. We just want this done. I do have one tangent regarding Jungle Fury that I need to talk about, and that is this fucking morpher. Which is the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen. I need everyone to know about this ridiculous fucking morpher. They give this guy this totally normal bracelet. Alright, this totally normal looking bracelet. This is a totally valid thing to be a morpher. You press the little buttons, it does morpher things. Cool, normal. But you press the button things, and it turns into this. I don't know how to describe that thing. What is it? It's the size of your torso, for one. And it's like, what is all this off to the side? I get that that's a sword, and like, this is where you hold it. What is all this off to the side? Why do you have a metal knife glove? They have animal spirits that turn into giant robots. Okay, but that's on theme! What is this? That's on theme! What the fuck is that glove, RC? What the fuck is that glove? How is this on theme? What does any of this have to do with Rhino? Why is it orange? This is not a Jungle Fury presentation. It could be. So anyways, the RPM showrunners went way harder than has ever been necessary for a season of Power Rangers. It starts off with, congratulations, humanity is fucking dead. This is a post-apocalyptic season of Power Rangers, which is cool as fuck, and I cannot believe it took them this long to try this idea. The basic plot is that the world has been taken over by this computer virus, which is called Venjix, which is totally not a HAL 9000 ripoff. Basically, the entire world has been destroyed, but there is one city on Earth that is in this protective dome that Venjix cannot get into. So that's where all that's left of humanity is. just hanging out in this dome. So before we like truly get into everything I love about RPM, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the bad shit. There's nothing I can do about any of the stuff that you are about to see. This is just how Power Rangers is. I don't like the theme song. It's, in comparison to a lot of Power Rangers theme songs, it's very boring. It's very aggressive. And they had an option to use one by Dan Avidan, and they didn't. And imagine if Danny Sexbang wrote a Power Rangers theme song. That fact alone would have been better than this theme.
Power Rangers RPM, getting gear. Power Rangers RPM, we stand together. Power Rangers RPM, getting gear. Power Rangers RPM, get in gear.
Long sigh. It's just butt rock. It's just people screaming random phrases that aren't even in the show, by the way. Like, they yell RPM get in gear when they morph, but like, we stand together. What is it? Like, it's bad. It's bad, and I hate it. Dan Avidan wrote a demo for Power Rangers RPM. I'm gonna find it and play it. As a lifelong NSP fan, if Dan Avidan had written the theme song for Power Rangers RPM, I would have exploded. Look up demo theme 1. Okay, I know that Twitch is a big Power Rangers fan, so I will trust him when he says that this is good. Oh, what the fuck?
For humanity, Power Rangers RPM, let's go.
That was violently 2009, and I adore it? What the fuck? Alright, look. The point of Power Rangers weapons is to sell toys. That is a fact. Power Rangers was born from wanting to sell toys. That was the point of Power Rangers. But these ones are just so particularly bad. This is a sword. This one over here, this is supposed to be a sword. That is a pipe on a stick. Flynn's turbo cannon is especially egregious. It's really bad. Is that a gas pump? No, that's a gun. That's a car. That's a toy car. She presents it like it's a weapon. It's a toy car. Bottom right is just straight up a weed whacker without the blade guard. Yeah! You wanna know what else is bad? The Zords. Zords aren't too great this time, either. Why is Dylan driving a cop car? Why is it a gun car? Why is that just a shark on wheels? Why is he got a bus? I am talking about them because they're bad, but, they get a pass from me because they make fun of them in-universe.
What do you mean, what eyes? Right there? The front of our Zords.
They are not eyes. They're optical field scanning sensors for your cockpit's A2D display.
Well, they look like, they look like...
They look like eyes. Big, googly anime eyes.
Next.
Oh. Oh god, the robots. They're not egregiously bad compared to other Power Ranger seasons. This is pretty par for the course. But, I mean, just... What the fuck is this one? Alright, he's made of balloons! Like, this one's made of balloons. Even the villain comments on how stupid this one looks. Like, they're tossing out ideas for stuff, and one of them just goes, that looks like a giant bottle of window cleaner. I can live with it, because they make these things blow up at the end of every episode, so at least they're gone by the time we're done. at least part of the story is making sure this thing never moves again. That's all the shit that's bad. Let's get into the good shit. This is the best Ranger team that has ever existed. I will fight people about this. We're gonna start with Scott Truman, also known as Scott Daddy Issues Truman. His dad's the colonel who runs the whole city. And his older brother is currently exploded. They show that death on screen, by the way. His brother was the leader of his squadron, and he watched his brother's plane blow up and heard his last transmission and sobbed in the cockpit over him. And that is all shown on screen. This is a show meant for 8-year-olds. He's the team leader, and he's good at it. Fun fact, he is one of, I think it's 4 now. He is one of 4 POC Red Rangers. Scott also once beat up a bad guy with a baby stroller that still had a baby in it. The baby was fine. I think at one point he flips it and it does like a 180 in the air before landing again. And he still like looks at it and the baby's fine. And you're just like, what? There's a baby in there. There's a baby in that stroller. There's the flip! It was so unnecessary too. I know! That's the best part. He didn't have to do that. Flynn, best boy. McAllister. All he wants in life is to help people. And that is not an exaggeration. His entire backstory revolves around how badly he wants to help people, but he struggles to turn that into a career because all of the systems that are in place are corrupt. I'm not kidding. This man calls out corruption in the police and in the police force, and also in the international aid system. He became an international aid worker, and he got fired because he decided to stand with the local there were like local tribes in the area he was helping that were at war with each other, and they like brought them aid and then were going to abandon them because because of the tribal war, and Flynn stayed behind to help them fight, and he got fired. And I just everything this man does is entire. He is not capable of wrong, only of oops. Ignore the episode where he gets really upset that someone just thinks he's a simple mechanic, because he says that he is just a simple mechanic in like episode 2, but then in like episode 25 he gets really pissed that someone just calls him a simple mechanic. It's fine. He also drove a bus into a war zone to save a little girl. Also, he's Scottish. Summer, also known as a girl boss, Lansdowne. Her backstory is that she used to be a really obnoxious, like, preppy rich girl. Like, she was very princess. She was like, ooh, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I'm gonna get it all because I'm rich and amazing, and all that kind of stuff. But important note, she still rode motorbikes and did karate alongside being a princess. Because fuck your gender stereotypes, she can wear a ball gown and also kick your ass. She was a bitchy rich girl, but she could also kick your fucking teeth in. Get you a girl who does both. But yeah, then her butler dies on screen, and it's actually really fucking sad. She decides she's not gonna be selfish anymore, and she wants to help people. And she wants to become a better person, and it's so fucking what? This is Power Rangers! She also has an entire 2-part episode based solely around her, where her shitty parents try to, like, they find out that they're actually broke, so they try to marry her off to some other rich family to, like, regain their money, and she tells them to fuck off, and it's great. That episode also ends with her defeating a villain while wearing a wedding dress, which is just cool as fuck. Girl boss! Yeah, but her only flaw is believing that she can fix him. Dylan. You may not believe this, but he is my little meow meow. He is so bisexual. So he doesn't remember anything about his past, prior to Venjix. He actually, so all the other characters we've seen so far, they start out in the dome when the show begins. He does not. He is out in the middle of the wasteland, just fucking Mad Max Fury Roading it. He has robotic implants, and he doesn't know how they got there. And they have the Venjix virus inside them. And they are slowly replacing... Now, don't ask me how this works scientifically. Just know that it's cool. The robot implants are slowly taking over his entire body and will inevitably turn him into a Venjix cyborg. Which is so fucking cool! There are episodes where it takes him over and he turns on the team, and it is so damn good. It is so damn good. His eyes go red, and it's so fucking neat, and it drives me insane, and I love it! Summer can't fix him, but I'll tell you who can. Ziggy Grover can fix him! Ziggy Grover is the best Green Ranger, and I will fight the Tommy Oliver stands in hand-to-hand combat myself. They found the proper balance of being the goofy comic relief without being obnoxious. He was also once in the Mafia, don't worry about that. He doesn't have a car. He does, however, have a scooter that he putters around on, like a little motorized scooter from time to time. But when speed matters, which is most of the time, he rides with Dylan. He is so transcoded. Holy shit. He's so nothing in this world could convince me this man is cis. There's an episode. Remember how I said there's an episode where there's that one robot that knocks out all of the men in the city? It targets chromosomes, all right? And I know this is not how chromosomes work. But Ziggy stays awake for a good 5 minutes longer than every other man does. I choose to believe the chemicals got confused by trans. One thing I really like about him as a character is that he gets progressively better over time at fighting. Something that happens in a lot of Power Rangers seasons is that if they've never put on the suit before, they instantly become like karate masters the second the suit goes on. And that's always like bothered me a little bit. Or it'll be like, oh, I'm struggling with this one power-up, and I can't get it. But then he gets it in, like, one episode. And then, like, they'll be like, wow, I'm amazing. I can overpower everyone. And then in the next episode, he's back to, like, oh, I suck at this one thing. And it, like, jumps back and forth like that. Or they just immediately get good. Ziggy is different because he progressively gets better at fighting as the show goes on. You can watch it in his fight scenes as he gets slowly better to the point where he is up to speed with the rest of the team. Also, he does shadow puppets. And that becomes important to the plot. This is Dr. K. If autism was a person, it would be Dr. K. She has literally the most tragic backstory I have ever heard. The part that I'm about to tell you is not the worst thing that happens to her. When she was a child, she was a math prodigy. She got presumably kidnapped from her home, locked in an experimental think tank, and forced to like build projects for the government for her entire childhood. And she doesn't know her own name. That is not the saddest part of her backstory. That's how fucked her backstory is. Also, she is referred to by he and she pronouns and does not give a fuck either way. She starts out the season being just a computer screen, and then she reveals herself to the Rangers in like episode 4 or whatever. I don't remember how long it is before she reveals herself. But while she's on screen, they only ever refer to her with he, him pronouns. And then when she's out, they refer to her with she, her pronouns. She does not seem to give a fuck either way. The only mention anyone ever makes about her gender after that is Ziggy says, I thought you were a dude. And her response is, sorry to disappoint you. So I choose to believe Dr. K is the non-binary icon we all deserve. She will also actively slit your throat if you suggest that the Power Ranger suits are spandex. That is a running gag throughout the show, is people saying, what's with the spandex? And she like launches herself over a table to like strangle you. We're gonna talk about Gem and Gemma. RC Gaming said they didn't like Gem and Gemma. That's valid. they start off as the weakest point character-wise. They grew up with Dr. K in the same, like, think tank thing, but they were testers for all the Ranger technology, so they were just really into blowing stuff up. They're very autistic as well. They're also very annoying when they start. They finish each other's sentences, except the writers didn't really know where to cut off the sentences, so they switch off in really weird places. But then they start, like, splitting them up for episodes and, like, developing them as separate characters, and they get much better once they start doing that. Once they start being like, hey, what if we had Jem go off on his own, or Gemma go off on her own for a little bit and see what happens? They get a little bit better. I'll also never forgive Ninja Steel for what they did to Gemma. Gemma has a cameo in Ninja Steel. All the joy has been completely sucked out of her in that cameo in Ninja Steel. And not literally, it's like, she's very like, yeah, let's go, boom, yay, woo, happy. Like, she's very like, it's like she's constantly on a sugar high in RPM. And then she shows up in Ninja Steel and she's like, hello, I am Gemma. I come from RPM. And I'm like, what did they do to you? So we have Colonel Truman. This shot is what he is introduced with, by the way. So he's not a great dad, but he has his moments. And I have to commend him. Because you have to remember, Corinth is the last human city on Earth. Humanity is fucking dead, aside from Corinth, and he runs Corinth. I have to commend him for being like, I can't sacrifice all of humanity for one person, even if that one person is my son. He has his priorities in order. Do those priorities make him a good dad? No, but they do make him a good leader of the last human city on Earth. Then we have Corporal Hicks. 80% of all of his lines are just the word sir. And I don't mean like that's all he says. I mean like he'll be like, sir, they took out a quadrant in the west, sir. And they're coming in closer, sir. What should I do, sir? Sir, yes, sir. Like, that's how he talks. This is Venjix. He's totally not HAL 9000. He gets like 4 different robot bodies over the course of the show. This is the first one. This is the second one. And this is the final one. I can't remember if there's any more in between, but I couldn't find any more in between, like when I search on Google Images, and I don't remember any more than that. But they keep failing him, and it's like, dude, maybe like just stick to your tube and call the shots from here, because normally he's just in this tube. And it's like, yeah, just call it the shots from there. That was going fine. It wasn't, but that was going fine. Also, he has protractor arms in this one for some reason. But he apparently lives by the mantra that doing the same thing twice and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Because he has a few plans that, like, get very close to working. And it's like, if you just adjusted that a little to the left, you would have won. If you did this again, just like a smidgen to the left, you would win, man. I'm just saying, if I were Venjix, I would have won. Tanaya 7. Tanaya 7. Tanaya 7. Tanaya 7. Tanaya 7. Have you ever wanted to watch Adelaide Kane kick ass for 29 episodes? Tanaya 7 was my gay awakening. I'm certain of it. When I was 10 years old, I looked at Tanaya 7 and I went, I like girls. She's amazing. She's the only competent member of Venjix's Goon Squad. She has literal finger guns, as you can see in this picture. She can turn her fingers into an actual gun, which is cool. That visor is awesome. This is what she looks like when she's fully disguised as human. And towards the end of the season, she gets an upgrade towards becoming Tanaya 15. Is there a reason they skipped 8 Tanayas? Because there actually is. So there's different generations of Venjix tech. So she was made during Generation 7. And by the time she gets the reboot, they are on Generation 15. So she was so good that they never needed to upgrade her. No, literally. She is the only competent one on this goddamn team. We have General Shifter, who, he's kind of interesting because he actually ends up getting his own separate storyline where he defects from Venjix. I also love his dumb little head thing. This little blue bar that's connected to this metal pipe goes up and down intermittently for no discernible reason. General Crunch, who's the low point of the Goon Squad. He's dumb. And not even like fun stupid. He's just stupid. I think he gets vaporized really early in the season. Like even the writers realized he was fucking stupid and just got rid of him. General Kilobyte, who kind of functions as like a mini boss almost. Like he's not as bad as Venjix, but he's a pretty big antagonist in the second half of the season. The fact that they gave him slicked back metal hair is the funniest thing in the world to me. You see these like bars on his head? He will reach up with his hand and slick it back like he's got like a pompadour or something. He also has it out for Tanaya. So he hates to see a girl boss. He's actually canonically sexist. Like I think at one point he like looks at Tanaya and goes like, why don't you let the big boys talk this out? Or some shit like that. Like he's canonically sexist, which is a hilarious trait to give a fucking robot. So now we're gonna get into the other reasons to watch RPM if you're a coward who can't admit to yourself that Power Rangers is already cool. How Power Rangers normally works is that there will be a version of that same season that was done in Japan for the Super Sentai version. And what they'll do, they'll have the same suits, they'll have the same big robots. So what they'll do is they will rip the suit fight scenes and the big robot fight scenes directly from the show, from the Japanese version, and just write the American version around those fight scenes. The RPM writers didn't do that. The RPM writers just decided, fuck that, actually, and created their own big robot fights. As well as I think they choreographed the suit fights themselves as well. They filmed, so all of the fight scenes in RPM, at least in the first half of the season, I don't know when the cutoff is, are completely originally made for the American version of RPM. The thing about that is it meant they went crazy over budget every single episode because they weren't just pulling from Go Onger, and they were filming all new fight scenes. And so the showrunners of RPM actually got fired like halfway through this season, which is so sad. But they went off when they had the time, and I respect that. In Go Onger, the Zords talk. I am so glad the RPM showrunners decided to do what they wanted with this show. The stream's been going for an hour and a half. I have a lot to say, Toby! Here's another reason why you should watch RPM. And it's one that I think that this chat in particular will connect with on a very deep level. This season is so fucking gay. This season is so gay. It's so queer. You could tell me any of the main 7 Rangers in this season are in any combo of Polycule, and I would believe you. My personal favorite combo is Dylan and Ziggy are dating, as you can probably tell by this screen. When you get into a prison fight against 9 other guys because they were picking on the guy who tried to steal your car yesterday. I like this shot because you can kind of see Dylan's actor smiling a little bit. Like, you can tell they're doing this on purpose and they're laughing about it. This moment here is from one of the episodes where Dylan gets taken over by the Venjix virus for a brief moment and is kicking ass. Ziggy runs up to him and like grabs him around the waist, and Dylan freezes, and Ziggy like pulls back and he goes, check it out. His deep feelings for me are overriding the program. And you're like, huh? What? And it ends in a punchline because Dylan immediately like punches him in the stomach and like falls over. But he did stop! There's no heterosexual explanation for this hold either. This pose right here, when you hold the bro so tenderly. Also, do you remember the time that Ziggy jumped off a skyscraper completely unmorphed to save Dylan without hesitation? Because I think about that every goddamn day. There's so many moments between these two where you're just like, there's something very fruity happening here. Please also see the episode where Scott and Dylan spend a whole day handcuffed together, because that had an energy. Look, I believe that Dylan and Ziggy are in love, all right? I really do. I believe in this whole season that Dylan and Ziggy are in love with each other. I also believe at the same time that Scott and Dylan have had hate sex at some point. They're extremely rivals to lovers coded, and it's very funny. My favorite gif of all time. Thank you so much, Power Rangers, for blessing me with this image. That is, in fact, Ziggy diving into the car. There are 5 cartels in the last city on Earth, and one of them is yo-yo themed. Another one is candy themed. So remember this over here, this prison fight. It's a Jello-based prison fight where they can't legally say the word Jello. It's so funny to watch because the whole time Dylan's like, I'm getting some dessert, and they're like, you're getting the lime, the strawberry dessert, and he's like, I want the strawberry dessert, and they're like, the lime dessert is just as good, and it's like, then you won't mind the lime dessert, I just want my dessert. It's like, it's Jello. Someone, for the love of God, say Jello. Please remember, he gets into that Jello based fight to save Ziggy, because Ziggy gets in trouble in the prison, and he does it to save Ziggy. He has only known Ziggy for 24 hours at this point, because, you know, you totally get into a Jello-based prison fight against 9 other dudes for your bro that you met yesterday. Listen. Ziggy may be the idiot, but Dylan is the simp. They also have a behind-the-scenes episode that includes a bloopers reel. That episode's really fun, because it's very, like, it's obviously, like, we're explaining the production process to children. So it's a little bit dumbed down because it's meant for 8-year-olds, but it's still kind of cool to be like, oh, that's how they did this. Like, they'll show them doing the stunt jumps and how they edit things and how they do stunt driving. And it's fun. I'm not going to spoil it because I want you all to watch that. That's the point of the stream. The point of the stream is for you all to go watch Power Rangers RPM when this is done. I'm not gonna spoil it, but Dylan, Tenaya 7, Ziggy, and Dr. K have some of my favorite character arcs of all time. Dr. K has a cannon in their fridge. That's not important to the story, but it's important to me that you know that. So many Power Rangers shows just, like, kind of gloss over how the Rangers themselves actually work. Like, some seasons are like, oh, it's magic! The powers come from magic! Blah, blah, blah. Or, we tapped, something tapped into the morphin grid. Yay, we did it. Power Rangers are here now. Woohoo! And, like, that's fine. You don't have to go in depth with how the Power Rangers work. Because, again, this is a show for 8-year-olds. And all the 8-year-olds need to see is cool dudes in cool suits beating the shit out of bad guys. Dr. K invented them. Like, yes, she tapped into the morphin grid. But she, like, invented them. And, like, very often goes into the science behind how they work. Like, that's a lot of her lines is explaining, like, this is how this works. This is how that works. Like, the suits are real. When they're not being used, the suits are, like, in display cases in her lab. The suits are real. Like, they're not just something that zaps onto them. And you don't immediately become a better fighter because you're wearing the suit. Please go back and see my discussion about how Ziggy gets progressively better in the suit, but he starts off terribly. You have to go through tests to see if you're ready to become a Power Ranger. Like, they have specific body tests and, like, physical and mental tests to see if you're ready. And, like, they like, there's actual real Power Ranger science behind it that they discuss. And it's cool. It's cool that they did that because it just adds another layer to this world and makes it feel more real. Now, most other Power Ranger seasons, they have, like, a theme. And they just build off that theme. Like, if we talk about Jungle Fury, it's all animals. Like, it all comes back to the idea of spirit animals. That's the theme of the season, is that everybody has a spirit animal. And it's your animal spirit that you can unleash, and that's what powers the Power Rangers, that's what powers the Zords, that's what powers everything. Or, like, Mystic Force, it's all magic, done poorly, but it's all magic. The classic Power Rangers, it's all dinosaurs, or Dino Thunder, it's all dinosaurs. Like, mostly Power Rangers, you know what you're getting into based off the fucking title, because they'll just go all in on the title. This is, like, the only Power Ranger season where the theme of the Rangers is cars, but they go so much further beyond just being, this season is a car season. Like, yeah, Scott and Dylan get into fights over cars, and their base is called the Garage. But other than that, it's like, Yeah, we have cars. Anyway, the computer virus that's taking over the world right now is a bigger issue. The part about them being Power Rangers is almost second to why they need to be Power Rangers. And I think that really works for this season. It's like, we don't care that they're Power Rangers. What matters is that they are, and here's why they have to be. Like, here's what they have to fight. And that's the important thing. No one gives a fuck if, like, Dylan's latest weapon looks like a gas nozzle. It's a weapon. He can use it to kill the evil robot that is going to hurt his friends, and that is the important part. I'm not gonna tell you who, but know that this season has the guts to kill a Ranger on screen. A Ranger fucking dies this season, and it is very rare that they do that. Because not only do they show them dying, they show the rest of the team watching it happen. And they all just, like, are standing there in shock. And you're like, oh my god, they're dead. They're fucking dead for real. And it's insane. Now, I shall leave you with what is possibly the greatest scene in the history of all of Power Rangers.
Red is the perfect one. Black is the brooding bad boy. Green is the clown, and yellow, well, she's the girl. So what are you supposed to be?
I'm Scottish.
He's Scottish!